Welcome back. This time we're going to talk about what are your audio and video production skills worth. Not necessarily in monetary terms, but in worth to you and to other people. Your time, where you stand in the market you're in, all that kind of stuff. So the first thing to think about these days, whether you're doing audio production or video production or anything media related really, if you're working for yourself especially, it's kind of difficult to connect with new customers without using the internet. The internet has just become the way that people do that. And a lot of it is through social media.
On the line.
Online.
Now, I've had an up and down relationship with social media ever since it came about. I remember basically being bullied into getting a Facebook account because all my friends had one and they were kept hassling me. I think they started a group called Get Sean on Facebook. So I eventually got on the Facebook thing. Didn't do it for very long, didn't like it. Sort of got out of there. I have one for business now, but that's it. I just don't get on with it. I do a bit of Instagram. Again, it's kind of tailed off a bit. I don't like looking at Instagram. It just, I don't know, it doesn't leave me feeling good about much really. There's just too many people on there posing, shoving off, look at my perfect life, all that stuff.
Likes, views, followers. We are not followers. You are not a follower. I'm not a follower.
Instagram star quits social media and reveals the truth about her perfect life.
Doesn't do anything for me. I don't want to see it. I don't really want to subject other people to seeing that from me, so I tend to post very little these days. That said, for work, you have to use it a bit. It's just ubiquitous. It's the way that you reach new customers. Far easier than, all the old methods of print advertising, flyers, leaflets, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of put itself at the top of the list of how you get work. But it's not the best way. The best way always has been and always will be word of mouth. The more work you do, the more satisfied customers you have, that word will spread, and that is worth far more than any social media advertising. But we have to engage with it. And I think you really need to be careful because it's very difficult sometimes to judge your worth in your little market that you're working in. I know from personal accounts that there are lots of people I know who are very talented at what they do working in this kind of field, whether it's music or video. Very talented people, but they're just not into the social media thing very much. So they're not posting very much. They're not constantly talking about the projects they're doing. They're not constantly posting beautiful photos of their studios or their edit suites or their camera gear. So it appears that they're not that busy, or maybe they're not that into it. And unfortunately these days, a lot of customers going looking for people look at who's got the most followers, who's got the most likes, not who's the best. And that's a tricky one. I find that difficult. I understand, all right, you have to do social media, you have to play that game a bit. But I don't like the fact that people are picked on their popularity rather than their skills. But you're gonna have to face that a little bit. But don't get drawn into thinking that just because your studio isn't particularly photographic or that it's not, it doesn't look beautiful and you haven't got the latest gear and you haven't got the latest camera gear, or, maybe the people in these photos, quite often they all look like models. They look like they spent half the week in the gym and the other half of the week robbing banks to pay for all this amazing gear they've got. It's just not reality. It's not what most people are doing. My studio looks all right, but that's because I know I'm going to film it, so I make it look all right. But at the end of the day, a lot of the people I know doing some amazing work, probably the best work I know of, don't work in places that look particularly good. It really doesn't matter. You've just got to do the work. So don't let that side of it get to you. It really doesn't matter what your place looks like or what you look like.
I don't need your charity.
But, as I mentioned, marketing yourself online is just going to be something you have to do. And what everybody else is doing, obviously at the moment, is posting beautiful photos of what they've done, where they're doing it, all that kind of stuff. And there's loads of people that appear to be working all over the world in all these beautiful locations. That sort of isn't always going to help you. If local businesses in your town are looking for someone to make a promotional video or to write some music for an advert for them or something like that, they're going to look at those and think, they're probably out of my price range. I need to find someone lower down in the market. And that might be something you can exploit, to go the opposite route, be more local, be more accessible. But you do have to engage with it. I do find that Instagram ads and Facebook ads do work to a certain extent. You can reach your audience that way. But you have to be very careful with choosing your audience, who you want to target, pick the right age groups, pick the right interests. And if you're pitching for doing work, for adverts or anything like that, music videos, think about what those people are probably doing, because the interest they list on social media might not be tied in necessarily with the fact that they're in a band or that they own a business. So you need to sort of spread your net quite wide and maybe do a bit of research before you get involved in online advertising. With all that said, what do you do if you are contacted and someone says, do you know what, I've had a look, seen your show reel, I've heard your work, I'd love you to do something for us. We don't actually have any money at the moment, there's no budget, but if you did us a really nice video or you wrote me a nice piece of music that I can use for this or that, we'll definitely use you again and we'll pay you properly next time. Really? Is that really going to happen? Do you know of any time when that's happened to anybody else? Because I don't. I've had it happen to me earlier on in my career. People ask for favours, and it's a different thing if it's a friend or if it's a business that you've already done work with and you know that there's a bit of synergy there, you're going to get something good from them, it's going to happen, it's happened in the past. Fair enough, take the risk. But generally, once someone who's got your services for free, it logs in their head that that's what your services are worth.
Here you are all equally worthless. And my orders are to weed out all non-hackers who do not pack the gear to serve in my beloved cause.
So when they do have a bigger budget to go and do the next advert or the next piece of music or whatever it is they want, they won't be going with you. It's very unlikely because you have registered as someone that will work for free. They'll want to pay someone who is the next level up in their head. Even though that's probably you, it won't be you they come back to. And it's hard to say no, especially when it's a really big client. I've had some really big, well-off record companies ask me to do things for them for nothing, on spec. Will you do this? Will you do that? We really haven't got the budget at the moment, but we can really see this going somewhere. It'd be great to be involved in, it'd be great for your CV. It's like, if it's so great for me and if it's so obviously going to take off, you can pay me. I cost a certain amount of money per day. That's what I cost. If you don't want to pay it, go and pay somebody else. And I think the panic is that you're going to one day see this, in a year's time on TV and think, I was offered that, I turned it down. There is someone else watching it on TV going, I did that and I didn't get paid. Or they eventually caved and had to pay somebody, in which case the person watching it knows they got paid a fair deal. It never pans out, it never works. You are worth something. Doesn't matter how little work you've done or how small your CV is, what you do is worth something. Make sure you get paid. That whole we'll pay you next time thing, it's balls. It never happens. Steer clear of it. Related to that is knowing when to say no. Not because you don't think you're going to get paid. I'm talking about saying no because you've got too much on. There's too much on your plate. If you take on any more, yes, it's great to have more money coming in, but you're going to be so stressed. You might not do a good a job as what you could. You might not get it finished in time because you're busy doing other stuff. The pressure of having too much to do will ruin the stuff you are doing. And what's the point? Because surely you want to do this kind of thing because it's your dream job. You want to enjoy it. You don't want to just keep putting money in the bank, but you're driving yourself crazy. There's no point in that. You can't enjoy the spoils of your labour if you're just stressed. So learn to say no and learn to have a cut-off time when you're working. I do it a lot. It's quite easy. Sat here working away, suddenly look at the clock and realise it's 3 a.m. Because you're into it, you're enjoying it, but then you suddenly realise you've got a Zoom call or you've got something else you have to be doing at 9 a.m. And you've knackered yourself the rest of that day because you didn't sleep enough. And probably the stuff you did that late at night, you're going to have to look at again with a clear head the next day. You're not doing yourself any favours. Have a cut-off time. Just say, do you know what, at 6 o'clock, I'm done. I'm turning this off. I'm going to have some food, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to relax for the evening. I will come back to it tomorrow. I think my working day improved significantly when I made the decision that I'm going to work office hours. Not every day, but most days I will start at the time that most people start work and I will finish at the time most people finish. This kind of job, that doesn't normally happen. But when you start giving yourself some boundaries, you start to feel a bit more normal, a bit more human. Everyone's heard of studio tan, that crazy look that sound engineers get, and people that work in video production get, because they're just indoors, they don't see daylight. You go grey, your skin turns a funny colour because you're not getting enough vitamin D, you're not relaxing, you're not eating properly. Just back away from that. You don't need to do that. You know, how much can you earn anyway? Realistically, just take on the amount of work that you can comfortably do and do it really well. And then the jobs will keep coming, but there'll be better jobs and better paid. So you won't have to work more hours. You'll just be working on better stuff. That is the way to keep a calm mind and not lose your mind, because no one wants that, and it's really, really possible. So set clear boundaries. Have clear expectations from your clients, from the people you're working with. Make sure they know they can't pick up the phone to you at 10 o'clock at night and ask for this or that change, because you're not going to be working at that point in the day. If you're accessible 24 hours a day, you will never really fully relax. You won't enjoy what you're doing. You'll burn out. You'll end up going to do something else. So set clear boundaries between you and your client, but also for yourself, for your mental health. It's you know, it's talked about a lot at the moment, especially with COVID. People are going a bit crazy. Everyone's stuck indoors all the time. Doing this kind of thing, yeah, a lot of the time I'll say to friends, well, you know, my life's not much different really. I'd be in studio working on my own all day anyway. Take time out. Take an hour off, go for a walk, go and get a coffee, let your brain decompress. Come back to it. Don't just keep piling on the pressure on yourself. It's not going to help you. So there you go. Make sure that you don't let social media get to you. Do what you do. Don't worry about anyone else or what they're doing. It really don't matter. Just do your thing. Make sure you charge for what you do. Don't do freebies. Never works. Know when to say no, and set clear boundaries, not only between you and your clients, but between your work life and your social life, your downtime. You will feel better. You will be more creative. You will do better work. Anyway, I hope that has helped. It's stuff that I rely on really to keep saying, especially at the moment. So yeah, I'll be back really soon. All right, see you later.